Good morning, evening, or afternoon, depending on what part of the world you are in, and welcome back to the channel, lovelies. So today we are done with BloxFest. Uh, we're just kind of hanging out, relaxing. Oh, I forgot to turn off ads. All week this week we are going to be running. All week we're going to be just having this tea time going on for anybody who is a former participant of this year's BloxFest who wants to come on, chat, tell us about how they felt about the tournament. Um, but yeah, we're not going to be running any ads this week. And so, I don't think we have anybody coming in today. I haven't had any confirmations for today anyways. But we are going to be playing this cute little TD, Tower Defense. So, get into it. So, in my opinion, BloxFest was kind of... Hi. Come hang out on the Discord. We're gonna be... This is where you can come and talk about how you felt about the tournament. Should probably... I think I have everything like set up properly for this. Yeah, no, come come hang out. I think this is... I'd love to like have you come in and like just, talk about your experience. Yeah, I gave you the role and everything. Okay, So yeah, I'd like to hear everybody's experience. I know mine was something, and I know everybody else's was interesting. Some people have better experiences than others, so I will like give it that. But yeah, I'd love for you to come sit down and have you here to talk. If you don't want to do it today, I'm gonna be running this all week. Sunday to Saturday this week, so. No problem. My original message in the Discord had been removed, except for my Portuguese and my Spanish versions. So they're really trying to push the, hey, we have a survey going on next week. No. Our lovely viewers should actually get to hear how things went and not be told, not have our stuff silenced through a survey. And I mean, like, I know that it's not intentionally being silenced, but it's actual feedback needs to be out there for people to hear how people's like actual experiences were with this, because this was kind of handled in a somewhat of a poor manner this week. this month actually. But you know. Hi, my love. Got $700 for that. Alright, we don't have enough for that yet, so let's get a couple. Oh, what is that? Hi, my sweet. Things are going alright. We are live, yes. Hello! Let me make sure that Discord's reading on my OBS real quick. Discord. Thank you, my love. Alright. Yeah, Discord's now reading on here. So, Lacos, how are you feeling? How was this tournament for you?
I will say, feeling better now that it's over. I can actually like play or stream and or just do whatever I need to do,
Mhm.
outside of this.
Mhm.
So just happy to kind of have that time back.
Mhm.
Um, because something that started out as like kind of fun and entertaining kind of slowly turned into like an occupation and kind of necessary
Mhm.
towards the end. And I will say, just to start off the bat, right? Obviously, I'm not a Roblox streamer. I don't stream Roblox normally. I've just streamed it before, but I don't stream it as like a normal thing. Like I'm not like that kind of category streamer. I'm just variety.
Right.
So when I saw the opportunity, I was like, oh, this is great. This is kind of cool. It's gonna bring in a ton of people because who hasn't heard of Roblox? It's gonna be well, a lot of people who've either been experienced with it or have not. It should be a pretty mixed crowd. I was gonna think, right?
Right.
Um, and I think it actually ended up being probably 80% either people who have not heard of it before or have played very little, just kind of on, off and on. Probably like in my kind of
Right.
case, where it's just from time to time, very, very, very casually. Um, so I was thinking, okay, surely, this is before I even found out about like the streaming rules and how you earn points and yada yada yada, right? I was like, okay, surely whatever this contest or like event is going to be is going to understand that, and they're going to recognize who their demographic is and cater the event around that, build around that, use that information to figure out how to earn points, what games to play, and essentially just how to win.
Right.
I would have thought. Um, and then it just kind of turned out that like if you didn't already know what were like the top, what was it, like 10, 9 categories that are the most popular games on Roblox, if you hadn't already heard of them, haven't already played them before to an obscene amount, you're SOL. And you might as well just duck the tournament altogether.
Right.
Because I've never heard of Doors. I'd never heard of Hypershot. I never heard of Steel Brain, any of these other games, right? I was like, okay,
Right.
you know what? Even though I haven't, surely they're games that would be, pretty fairly balanced for either new players or inexperienced players of Roblox altogether. And they'll make it fair and balanced for everybody to have a proper playing field to gain points or to kind of change things
Right.
up. And then it turns out we went from uh, just playing a little fishing game, get a few fish, win the badge, tasks
Mhm.
here and there, right? To probably playing one of the most complex, um, deep, RNG filled, I'm gonna say it, yeah, difficult puzzle games I've ever seen on this game site ever.
Right.
And not one campaign, but you had to beat
Right.
two to get that badge. And I'm gonna get to that game later. I'll get to the badges later. But
Yeah.
just for how this was structured, how it was ran, and how it was operated, um, I it kind of feels like they just assumed or figured that everybody who would have joined this BloxFest would have been familiar with Roblox to like a decent amount.
Right.
Um, and it wasn't. It very much wasn't. I've seen it. So many people asking so many questions, good questions, mind you, because they weren't in the announcements. They
Correct.
weren't detailed, enough. They basically listed the rules of here's how many points you can earn per day, per
Correct.
week. All you gotta do is stream the game for 5 hours.
They gave
Which,
no they gave no actual information, and the only times information was given was because things were supposedly leaked earlier on. But
yeah,
they gave
and
that information to the rest of everyone else too late for it to make much of a difference.
right, and it's like, you know what? I understand. Leaks are gonna happen. It happens with a lot of events. It happens with a lot of tournaments, a lot of contests. It's just gonna happen. It's just per the nature of this kind of activity in general.
Yeah,
I
when
get and I understand that, right? What I probably didn't understand, what I didn't really get, is the fourth one. Is that when that one leaked, it was kind of weird when that happened because the badge before that, they said, "Oh, you know what we'll do is we'll just announce the game ahead of time, right? That way you guys can practice, you can figure out,
exactly
the routes, how to play the game, how it works, etc. You can go ahead and do that, right?" And I think everybody assumed
that they were
when
going
they
to do
did
that
that
going
for the
forward.
third batch, they were going to do it again for the fourth one. So when you hear about the fourth one being leaked, what does that tell you? That tells you that they didn't have any intention of doing that again. If it had to be leaked and it wasn't going to be told to you like the third badge was, why would you flip the script? Why would you
Yeah.
change that? Why would you change what was already working? You just are making things more difficult. You're confusing people and you're worrying them when you do
Right.
that. And it's like it's one thing if you create the event right before you meet the demographic. Obviously, you can't predict what kind of people are going to join this like event, who are going to join the event, and how experienced they're going to be with the game. Obviously, so you want to have some sort of like structure or like skeleton, right, of how this is going to be ran in general. What I would have thought they would do is after looking at the crowd and the demographic of the streamers that joined this, they would adapt and mold the event with the actual data that they have now instead of just saying, "Oh, you know what, this is how we've ran it in the past and it's worked," or "This is how we ran it in the past and this is how we like to do it." We'll just keep doing that. And I don't know
Right.
if that's true or not because this is my first BloxFest, right? I don't know how it's been ran in the past. I don't know if this is how it always goes. It could be, or it could be different. I'm not sure. All I have to go off of is the one I participated this year. And I gotta say, if this is how they always run things, I don't know how it's been going on in general. I don't know how they keep going. If this is how it always goes,
Right.
because it's oh man, it has so so many things that's just kind of like either wrong or just like confusing or just like wasn't executed properly that like all together just kind of felt like it was held with glue and popsicle sticks the entire time. I don't even want to look at that support channel or the bugs or just how that's been going because I just know it was a mess. When 99 Nights broke the badge, it was a mess. Now, I know that they play tested it, right? Obviously, you want to play test every badge. You want to make sure it's
Correct.
completable. You want to see how completable it is. Is it fair? Is it balanced? Do you think everybody could do this, right? I get that, right? It was a mess. I get that, and I appreciate the 50 points that they gave. I was one of the ones who voted for the 50 points instead of just like the redo because if they redid it, would have been within my work.
So
Um,
let's talk about that vote real quick. I, I believe they should have held that vote, at least kept it up for 24 hours because they did it mid tournament while people were actively doing streaming and stuff.
Yes.
And so hardly anybody, any of the participants, actually saw that there was
This
an
is very
announcement
true.
poll or vote to go on, because most of us who use Discord as communication, we have streamer mode enabled for when, we're live, so that way
Exactly.
we don't get notifications. But that right there, we don't get notifications while we're live.
Yeah.
And they only went off
It
of the small handful of um, votes that they had. And I mean, I'm not
yeah, no,
against the
it
50
wasn't
points. I'm
very
not
accurate.
against calling it a wash. But it's the fact of they only had it up for what, an hour before they took it down?
I think so. Like even if that, it was very short. However long it was very short. And you're right, it was poorly timed. This is exactly why I mentioned several times how this feels like it was held together with glue and like popsicle sticks, and how it was poorly ran and executed.
Now the
It's
mod
because of examples like that.
Yeah. Now the volunteer moderators that we had, they were splendid. They were amazing. They were helpful. They answered the questions as best as they
Yeah,
could. They tried to help support the streamers and those who were participating in the event. However, they were also given extremely limited information behind the scenes from the event coordinators.
yes. And part of me thinks that I wasn't at least I want to believe that it wasn't on purpose, and that it was due to the fact that the root cause, or like the top of the ladder, whatever you want to call it, probably didn't know it, and much more than the staff moderators did either. So
Right.
I want to believe that it's just because they as a whole didn't know enough, and not because
Right.
of that they purposefully withheld information. Because I
Correct.
understand, right? There was what, over, I think I saw someone ballpark this. I don't know how actually accurate it is. Like 300 plus thousand people, or at least in the thousands, right? Of how many participants there were in this. You
Right.
cannot expect, right, their size of team to cater to every single person in this contest, to check every single message sent in that channel. I get that. I totally understand. That's, and I honestly think that they still did a good job. I think that they still helped out and did what they could from time to time.
Right.
I think it was just a combination of both the games that they chose, right, and the requirements per game that made it difficult for just everybody, like in general, like
Right.
actually everybody in general. And it's just, it's one of those where it's like, man, I really wish that they took a look at the demographic of people that actually signed up for this kind of thing, and realized that they weren't all Roblox players. I don't know if this is actually, like, obviously I can't speak for everybody, but I'm assuming, based on the reactions that I saw for how many people were asking questions about each game, and actually detailed good questions on how to accomplish each requirements for the badge, it really seemed like most people kind of saw Roblox still as how it was in, like, what, like 2007 or so, where it's just the fun kind of casual kids game. There's no way it's evolved to have games out there like Doors at this level, right? I don't think anybody was really expecting Doors level games to really exist on this site, or
Right.
at least that's what it seemed like in the channel when they talked about it.
And I mean,
There
Doors
were a lot of
wasn't
people who were
bad.
like shocked. Yeah, and see,
I
Doors, and I still say this, right?
I personally
Doors, I don't think was a bad game.
Yeah, I personally feel it was one of the more fair games that we had in
It's
comparison to, like, it was a skill check, yes, but I feel like it was a more fair game because there was no pay to win aspect in it. They removed that
yeah, and then,
aspect for
that's what they did with
the
Hypershot
tournament.
as well. They made everybody use standard guns. Like, you literally could not use any bot guns, even with in-game currency, right?
Yeah.
You could not use any others, but paid guns, pay to win knives, whatever it is, right? I do like that they did things like that for each of the badges. That's good, making sure it's fair and balanced. I personally think that even though Doors is like a good game, I think outside of BloxFest, Doors is like an actually like really well made game. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
right? It's a really good puzzler. It's a really good game. I know there's a lot of people that like it, right? I personally think for the demographic that was brought in for this contest, that Doors was probably not a good choice for a badge, just because it's a little bit higher in terms like difficulty wise. Played in the game, not even like aside from the rules that you couldn't use revives and modifiers, whatever, right? Aside from even that, I think that Doors was a little bit higher of a skill game than at least the rest of the badges that they picked for this BloxFest. And I don't think, based on the kind of people they had in this contest, that it was probably one of the right games to put there. I think it was just a little bit, a little bit too high
I
for most casual players or streamers of the game.
I will
Um,
agree that Doors might have not been one of the better options out there to have chosen for the game, just due to the fact that there were concerns for those with health issues that would not have been able to progress this to complete the badge normally. And I appreciate that the staff did have an option for those who could not complete the badge due to health concerns. However, I also feel like it was not fully thought through for the game. Because I do understand, like, 200 floors for Doors. Uh, in the BloxFest hub, it said its average was a 4 hour completion time. It is not a 4 hour completion time. It is a multi-day attempt, even for those who were experienced for the game.
yeah, I can see that thing said. I think the accessibility issues was one thing as well. And that's kind of something that I think plays into like Hypershot a little bit too as well. Like I think for all the games that they picked, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would say probably just from playing Roblox, just playing Roblox on a casually here and there randomly, like with your friends or whatever, right? I think that Hypershot, Indoors, and maybe a little bit of Fish were one of those where it's like it's hard to jump in as like a new player who's never seen or heard or played this game before
Mm-hmm.
and figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Because the thing that kind of sucks with like playing these games that you never heard of, right, is that the badges were on a time limit. Granted,
Mm-hmm.
they had until this past Friday to complete them, but you get more points for completing it quickly. And
Mm-hmm.
so when I look at each game that was played or each game that was selected, right, and the requirements you had to do for each game, at least me personally, I think probably and Hypershot, Doors, and maybe a little bit of Fish were one of those where it's like it's hard to kind of do just off the ground, like just off of kind of like ground zero, because not everybody's good at FPSs. You know,
Yeah.
there's a lot of people who don't play FPS games normally, and you're asking them to get 400 kills. Um, I, it made personally, I don't know. Like me personally, I was fine with it. I actually really much enjoyed Hypershot. I really liked Hypershot, but that's just
Mm-hmm.
because I'm a Siege player, so like I'm already used to this, right? There's no biggie for me, but like I was still thinking about everybody who doesn't play FPSs, and you're asking them to get like 20 sniper kills, 400 kills, oh, by the way, I hope you can do all of this plus more in like within the first hour to get your maximum points possible in this badge.
And see,
By the way.
the thing with the Hypershot badge was that the stuff was leaked beforehand, so people actually knew what they had to do before the tournament stuff had actually been activated in the game. And then that
Yeah.
first 10 minutes of
And
the game as well, where people had, their preset skills and their already top tier weapons they were using the first 10 minutes before they shut down the servers and rechecked the code, making sure everything was good and dandy. They didn't bother wiping that data, and so
yeah,
some people were
and
already
it's
far enough progressed on parts of the badge.
And I think it's good. I mean, obviously, who hates like leaks, right? But like
Yeah.
anything to get like a head start, or whatever. That's great and all. That's good because it helps a lot of people. Um, I personally think that with the leak, it's not gonna like make anyone like an esports level FPS player just by knowing the game ahead of time. If you already weren't an FPS player before Hypershot dropped, you were kind of SOL for that badge. Even with knowing what the requirements were, because it's not gonna make you any better, like fast enough, I would say, for the time bonus on that badge. Which if you don't get the time bonus on that badge and you just get the minimum on all of them, you don't really change any places. You're not really gonna go up anywhere. You know.
Right.
Um, so that's why I'm like, it's great and all that it leaked and that people knew ahead of time. You can hop in, the night before or whatever, get as much practice in, get used to the guns, whatever, right?
Right.
It's not gonna really turn you into an FPS player by the
No,
time
of
the
course
actual
not.
badge drops. And I'm just like, man, that kind of sucks
Yeah.
for anybody. Like, I had a feeling that one of them was gonna be an FPS. I was just really glad it wasn't Rivals. I
Honestly,
never
I
tried
kind
Rivals.
of
I personally don't like Rivals. But
honestly, I personally kind of wish it was Rivals because it would have disqualified a lot of players from the tournament in general. And I'm not saying this out of malice, but I'm hello, welcome to the stream, Richard. We are doing a tea time. We're talking about the tournament. We're going to be talking about with different participants throughout the week this week. Um, right now we're being joined by our friend Lacos here. Um, but no, I kind of wish it was Rivals because, and I'm not saying this to be malicious, but it would have disqualified a lot of people from the tournament because they are banned from Rivals for one reason or another. You know?
yeah, that was another thing I was was like curious and both like surprised to see. I didn't know Rivals was such a thing that most people like just got banned from normally outside of BloxFest. I don't know what happens in Rivals, right? I've played just enough to know how the game works, but like I gotta be honest, right? If you're getting banned from a Roblox game, what's going on here? What's going on here personally? to get banned from a Roblox,
They
like come on,
like
man.
some people claim
I
that
don't know, like
they don't know that it was for no reason, but it's typically for hacking
no,
or
no, they always know.
yeah, or there's
they know
Rivals
you
has
don't get banned for no
a
reason.
Rivals has something in its coding, a protective code that bans unsavory people. I can't really talk about that too much here, but it bans unsavory people, and a lot of popular games have this from
Yes.
its game. And if you've participated in certain activities that are illegal on the platform, then you are banned from Rivals for an absolutely valid reason.
Yeah, and it's also very common, just like kind of FPS games in general. A lot of them have like an anti cheat because everybody loves to wall or aim hack or etc. So
Mm-hmm.
I figured and I imagined most FPS games would have some sort of like anti cheat kind of built in, or just like reviews and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I just did not know Rivals was one of those popular ones that kind of happened to. I was actually surprised when people brought up banning and then being blocked and etc. Because
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing on Rivals. That's kind of insane. Like, you just play the game. Why play if you're gonna cheat? I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
The
Um,
the only reason I know about that code is because I follow the developer of that code over on YouTube. He's a controversial YouTuber because he calls out Roblox for a lot of his stuff, a lot of like stuff. Uh, his name's Ruben Sim. He's popular. You know he's been you know taken to court and stuff
right.
by Roblox and stuff. But that's aside the point. We're talking about BloxFest today.
Yeah, I was to say like in general, like I knew an FPS was coming. It was gonna be one of the
Yeah.
badges, just because it's like a popular genre, right? It's a
Yeah.
popular category. And I just think that I mean, again, I liked Hypershot. I like Hypershot as a game just because I'm already like an FPS kind of player, right?
Yeah.
But based on what I saw from like the reactions, a lot of people who saw it, that it was leaked and actually played the game, there were not a lot of FPS players, and I don't know. I kind of felt
No.
like asking for like 400 kills and like 20 snipes. It was like a little bit of a mountain for a lot of people,
Like,
especially to get within an hour of like a time bonus. Even if you knew the game ahead of time
yeah,
and a chance to practice, it's not going to make anyone like a pro player in that
yeah.
short amount of time. So I just kind of felt bad on that. Um, when it came to Fish, uh, Fish was one of those just kind of like knowledge checks. I
Well,
don't think Fish was actually a hard game, like in general. I think that one was just kind of like a knowledge check of like if you played this game before, you know where this stuff is. If you didn't, have fun,
yeah. Well, and
you
like
know, within the first hour.
with fish, I think they should have set everybody in a fresh start server instead of letting people come in with their previously obtained data. Because you had people
Yeah.
zooming off with 150 speed boats, you had people with like the most expensive rods in the game, all that good
Yep.
jazz. And
It's one of those
so
where.
I'll
Oh, sorry. Go
continue.
ahead. I was gonna say it's one of those where it's like it's possible with the starter gear because I did it with the starter
Yeah.
gear, but it most certainly helps if you played the game ahead of time. And it's where I wrap around again to this contest felt like it kind of favored. I don't know what percent it was of players this is on Roblox, but it kind of favored the ones who already played or dipped into these popular categories on Twitch for Roblox and for Roblox in general.
Mhm.
Like if you already knew about Steal a Brain Rot, Bubblegum Simulator, Pet Simulator, whatever they all were, right?
Mhm.
If you actually play Roblox and you actually keep up with like Roblox kind of news and just like game updates in general, you probably already knew these games. You probably already played them. That's great. The majority of people that joined this did not.
Yeah.
They very clearly showed that in their reactions to each game that was chosen, and their reactions and feedback in the Discord server as well. After each badge was like announced and released, people asking questions, asking whether they're stuck, And this is exactly why, right? I saw this. This is exactly why I made a guide on how to get the fist badge as
Hmm.
well. I did this for the specific reason because I was not the only one, and I saw it in the comments. Right, other people were talking about this and saying the same thing and asking for help because like, you got to be kidding me. You want me to get a rubber ducky that is at the very bottom pits of the ocean, right? And the only way you
Yup.
can get down there is if you wait for a strange whirlpool to spawn. Which, by the way, a strange whirlpool has a 15% chance to spawn from a normal whirlpool, which normal whirlpools already don't spawn that often, and
Hmm.
it just goes on and it just goes on and on and on. And it's like, okay, crabbing, sure, buy a cage, place it down. Pufferfish, oh, that's anywhere in the ocean, cool. And then rubber ducky is I want you to complete this really cool, really long step for just a squeaky little rubber ducky. By
Mhm.
the way, that's not even the end of it either. You got to go to another place, catch another fish, do several, and it just kept going. And I was like, okay,
Yeah.
okay, you want us to start off like this? Like the first badge sets the tone for the rest of the week, and it sets the tone for the rest of the badges. That's how they chose to start, by the way.
Oh,
That's how they chose to start,
and
and it's
remember, you
that's
had to place the crab, the duck, and the fish on pedestals
yes on
at the
earmark island.
island, and two out of the three
Yes,
were on land. So you'd
on
think the
the
third
island,
were
and the
on
third.
land.
Oh my god!
The third one was
I
in the
cannot.
water.
It was in the water. I can't tell you how long it took me to figure that out,
I had
and that's
somebody
why I
show
was.
me because I was getting so frustrated because like I'd apparently
Yeah,
passed by it 6 times, and
I did too.
it was right
I
there in the
watched my
water
own
underneath
VOD and I
somebody's boat.
walked past it.
Like people were unintentionally blocking the statue, and some people were intentionally blocking the statue. But you know, because nobody knew that it was actually there until after they'd placed it.
Yeah, and I felt so mad at myself because I watched my own VOD and how many times that I passed by it as well, and I'm like, you know what? I don't want to be the only person doing this, and so that's why like I made the guide for it as well. I really hope that a lot of people were able to figure that out in the time frame
Mhm.
that we had for that. Um, that's why I say fish is a knowledge check. Fish was a knowledge check, and that's how
Mhm.
you set the tone for the rest of the badges. So I'm like, okay, that let me know that hey, you know what, to get these badges, it's not just any other schmojo, right? You gotta know. You gotta know you actually gotta play the game. That was for
Mhm.
that one. 99 nights. 99 nights. I'm kind of a little biased towards because I actually really enjoy and love 99 Nights outside of BloxFest. I already played that game a ton. So when the requirements came out, I already knew what to do. Lucky for me, at least. But
Mhm.
for everyone else, right, you're dropped into the middle of a forest, and it tells you how to play the starter game, and it tells you what you have to do to play the game normally, right?
Mhm.
However, the actual steps to finish and do the badge was not quite as clear, right?
The badge
People
explained
don't
how to
know.
get the badge in the badge description.
Yes. And then it's like not everybody knows, how to get the radar. Where's the radar? Also, I could double check and make sure, but I don't think it said in the instructions or the requirements that you had to scan everything else ahead of time, and then after you scanned all of the locations, then the Twitch symbol would show up. I saw so many people thinking that their game or their quest was bugged because they didn't see the Twitch symbol in the radar at first. And so they
The
didn't know
badge
how it
explained
worked,
that you had to
right?
scan everything for the Twitch to show up, but it didn't always show up after you scanned everything, and so you had to close out and open it back up.
Okay, so maybe they probably had it in there then, and some people like overlooked it then, because
Mhm.
at least I saw that they had to scan with the radar, but that it didn't say specifically like where or how it would show up. So I saw a lot of people asking that question, thinking it was bugged. And then it actually turned out it was bugged later on with the wolf
Yeah.
pelt turn-ins, and I felt bad for that because it's one of those things where I'm pretty sure they play tested and tried for that, but somehow some people got it, some people didn't get the bug, and I'm just like, like I
Yeah,
don't know.
for
I guess I'm a little
some
curious how
people
that
it
happens with
wasn't
some
registering.
others.
Other people their pelts are falling directly through the floor.
Yeah, and it's like, man, I don't even know like really how to explain or how you even help you with that one because that's kind of something that just happens naturally with 99 Nights in general. Like just with the interact with the pellet trader in general, right? Um, that's just kind of like a little iffy spot that kind of happens when you play the game normally.
Mhm.
And I just know that when they explained the badge, right, they said that you had to discover uh, a new location, which is called the streamer's bedroom, that can be found using the radar. And so it says that like you have to complete the tasks shown within to achieve the badge, right? That's this
Mhm.
tasks within the streamer's house. I just don't think it specifically said that you had to scan everything in the radar first and then the Twitch symbol would show up afterwards. I think it just like said it you just have to scan with the radar. And I don't know
Mm.
how many people have played 99 Nights ahead of time or know how the radar works, right? And how it's kind of like it's like layered. And that's what I think a lot of people were confused about because I think they were expecting that the Twitch symbol would show up automatically when you crafted the radar, and you could just scan for it right away. But the badge, the instructions only just said that it can be found using the radar.
Mhm.
So I was just like, huh, okay. Um, well, best of luck. I'll still mention it and I'll tell people here, but the channel's going a mile a minute. It's probably going to be buried after like a minute or two.
Yeah.
Uh, so 99 Nights was, I kind of feel like also a knowledge check. It's a little bit of a skill check if you don't really know how like the combat works or like the best way to like fight or like craft or gather. But I kind of feel like it was a little bit more of just a knowledge check. That one, I think, felt like one of the more fair and balanced start from the ground up
Yeah.
kind of games of nobody who knew how to play the game. I'm gonna be honest, 99 Nights really isn't that hard of a game. It's
No.
actually I kind of feel like it's more fun than hard. So I was actually glad for that one because I was hoping and I saw that some people said in the channel, that it actually wasn't too bad to learn and figure out, especially since the game already gives you a tutorial every single time you play the game, whether you played it or not. It tells you how to play the game when you first get in.
Right.
Thankful for that. I think, kind of honestly, just personally, like Doors at least was the only one I had a main complaint with. The other ones were just like I kind of figured out, kind of you get it, from here on. But when I think about like the general populace that played uh, these games and that entered the tournament, I can totally understand and I can totally see for people who have never played these games before how they could be upset and confused and worried about how to do X requirement. Even
Right.
if you list the instructions, right? Because you can tell them how to get the badge, you can list it in the Discord or whatever, how to do X thing, but you can't predict how that's actually going to go, right?
Right.
Like, unless you actually explicitly say what's going to happen each and every time you do X step, there's always going to be questions, there's always going to be people confused. Good luck.
Right.
And I feel like this kind of would have been part of the course, whatever badge they picked. I just kind of feel like with these games specifically, it may have needed like a little bit more handholdy for a lot of people who were still confused afterwards. You know, because
Right.
it's like the same time that you're typing this server and you're asking questions and you're waiting for a response, that's time you're losing for the time bonus to get that badge, right?
Right.
From something that could have been cleared up or detailed from the start. So I kind of feel like, and I kind of wish that it was like a little bit more like explained or like detailed for some of these other badges. Um, and I really hope that a lot of people didn't take this like personally that they kind of like suck at Roblox or suck at games because I saw a lot of people talking about like just giving up on X badge or just giving up on the contest and just kind of being like really demotivated from this. And that's the thing that kind of
Right.
irked me the most about this entire BloxFest is how many times it turned people off from trying or playing anymore. Like people who probably might have actually had a decent chance at getting a good rank out of this stopped because they didn't think they could, based on what they saw here and based on the badges that they had to do. And I think
Right.
that if that's the result you get from hosting the event, if you see that people are saying that and that's the feedback you get from the event that you hosted and put together, I think there's at least something wrong here. Just a little bit something wrong here. So I personally hope and I feel like that they should look back on genuine feedback
Right.
from this event and not surveys that were including questions that's tailored to have good answers because
Hmm.
that's not how you get proper feedback, right? When you make the test, you know the answers. So it's pointless, I feel, to do that.
I
They
love
don't
the
like to see
fact
bad things.
I love the fact that my original invites to people for tea time in the English version of the Discord were deleted. I wasn't given a warning or anything, but they were deleted, just quietly removed. uh,
Yeah, honestly, that does not surprise me. As sad as that is to hear and see, that honestly does not
yeah,
surprise me because they don't want to look bad. Nobody wants to.
yeah,
Twitch doesn't want to look bad. Twitch rivals, whatever, doesn't want to like Roblox. Of course, they would do something like that. That's why I said surveys with questions tailored to have good answers
yeah.
does not count as feedback. It just does not.
And
And
yeah, they
this right
they are
here,
they've been pushing the survey thing all weekend, which I
yeah,
found to
that's
be
why
just a little funny.
I didn't even answer because you know what my answer going to the survey is going to be. It's going to be my own video that I'm working on this upcoming week. That's
Oh
going to be
heck
my
yeah,
answer.
we're looking forward to checking that out then.
Oh yes, I'm going to go over everything about the BloxFest experience, and it's going to be great.
One of our Brazilian participants is actually going to be making a video to send in as well that we'll hopefully be getting later this week. Um, I'm still
Yeah,
looking
but
into
it's good. I express yourself
yeah,
absolutely.
I'm still looking into speech to text bot translators for the Discord, so that way those who do speak, Portuguese or Spanish, and aren't comfortable with their English language, then they don't feel
Right.
like they have to speak English in here. I want everybody who comes on during this week to be able to feel like they can express themselves without feeling like they're going to be judged or whatever. This is meant to be an open platform for people to come through and come talk about their experience, because I want to hear from everybody. Not just those of us who are on the English North Americas.
Right. And that's the best way to do it. You know, you want to make everybody comfortable in their own house, like in their own self, right? That's great accessibility. Because this was a worldwide event. So
Well,
there's obviously going to be bridges that need to be made.
yeah.
Yeah, honestly, there's like probably a lot more, or not probably, there is a lot more like detail and specifics I do want to get into. Um, Unfortunately, I have to go and finish making dinner. I
Oh,
just want,
no problem at all.
yeah.
Like I said, this is going to be open from Sunday to Saturday. We're not going to be running any ads here on the channel. If you feel like you have some more to say, we would be more than happy to have you back.
Yes,
But
I would definitely be back. I absolutely will.
thank you so much for coming and like stopping on in. We're so happy to have you here, Lacos. You guys should totally go check him out. Lacos, if you want to plug your channel here.
Thank you, appreciate it. I'll leave with at least that.
Alrighty.
And I will definitely be back. I appreciate what you're doing here.
Of course, we look forward to hearing from you again. Enjoy dinner.
All right. Thank you. Take care.
Alright, so that was Lacos. He was one of the people we actually hung out with a lot this week. How fun is that? Very happy to like have had him come here on the channel to talk about his experience because I know he was definitely having a bit of a hard time. As were a lot of people though, so. But yeah, just all week this week we are going to be having, hopefully, people coming through. We're not going to be running any ads this week. It's just going to be purely, people coming through to vent and talk about their experiences here about the tournament. And I'm looking forward to having them back here. Now, my experience with the tournament was a little flip-floppy. As you guys saw, we had a couple of crash outs here on the channel during the tournament just from like the stress of it all. And I lamented a lot during it when it was just us. So, but I mean, this was definitely really hard even on people who stream Roblox regularly. Like they did not choose very tournament friendly games, and the ones that were, it did feel a little rigged in some regard. Because some of the games were catered towards specific audiences. Um, and yes, it was meant to be a Roblox streaming tournament. But I feel like the points that you could earn from the games held more weight than the actual time people would put in to for the games. Um, and so it's just like I said earlier with the fish one, they really should have uh, they really should have filtered or not filtered it. They should have had it to where everyone was on an even playing field. Um, because a lot of people had the advantage, had pay to win aspects to it. Even in Hypershot, um, people used instant revives to get back up on the field immediately, to go and you know continue whatever run they were doing. Doors was the only one that genuinely felt somewhat fair. Um, because there was like no pay to win aspect to it or pay to continue. And so, um, but I mean, overall, I did have fun. At least I personally had fun with the game once I actually met up with the group of people that we actually wound up streaming with for the remainder of the week. They made it feel a lot less stressful. Um, I know I lamented a lot about having felt abandoned by my streaming buddy by Russian this week. He had some stuff going on in real life that he told me later that prevented him from being able to continue um, participating with us, and that's fine. It was that lack of communication. I think that's what kind of hurt us the most. Um, you know, because it's not like he intentionally did it to be malicious. He just had some stuff he had to take care of, and so it'll still probably be a couple days before we actually see him back here on the channel. If but you know what? That's fine. Because you know our rule here is real life comes first, and that's what he's dealing with. And we are getting overran. Ugh. But those of you who participated in the BloxFest event, just as event goers, how did you guys enjoy it? Was it fun? Did you get all the cool things you wanted for the game? Okay, I need 1400 if I'm gonna get that early. Okay. Let's try out this loadout. Let's see if anybody wants to come join us. If not, we're just gonna rock it on our own. But yeah, no, like I'd said earlier, the volunteer staff for this, they were wonderful. They were super helpful. You know, they tried to answer people's questions to the best of their abilities. And, you know, that's all you can really ask of them. Hypershot was an issue. I mean, we had fun. We had fun with Hypershot. But it was an issue just due to the fact that the some people had like 40 instant revives or paid money to get more and were able to knock out their advancements pretty quickly. And the other issue was the people who came in with, high quality weapons. We were we were informed that they might have been bots, and bots on the opposing team have higher quality weapons to make it easier, or not easier, but to help even out, things. However, bots don't have skinned weapons. Bots didn't have new skills. And I really do believe that they should have wiped the data from that first 10 minutes because some people had their stuff done rather quickly. And I think the hardest part was that people didn't work with their team. And so it was pretty much every man for themselves when it came to handling everything. Even if you were on a team, you still had to fight your teammates for the flag. You had to fight your teammates for um, kills. You had to, you know, there was no teamwork, and especially with the capture the flag, like they wouldn't protect you. You were essentially on your own for the most part. Now, if you had a team, like a team put together before going into the events, it made things better. It made things feel less harsh when like you failed. You had people to help support you during certain things. You're able to work together with people, and that was nice. The silver lining that we've had on this was that we made some friends during this tournament. But that's not what you guys are here to talk about. I don't have enough money for that. I know my tea time's not extremely hot, but you know what? That's fine. Like I said earlier, this is just a place for people to come and like kind of vent how they're feeling. But I don't have any pre-written scripts or anything for tea time. This has all just kind of been, you know, people just feeling like they need to say something because I know that the survey is not going to turn out very well, and I'm not sure if there's any information from that's going to wind up becoming public for people to see people's opinions on things, and I think they are going to be selective on what they choose to address. Hi, my love. If you'll excuse me real quick, chat. We're back. Oh, we lost. Back to lobby. It's fine. We're just playing this for fun, so. We'll probably keep the stream up and going for about another hour. And if nobody else pops in this evening for chatter, then we will go ahead and end it. We will get back onto a regular streaming schedule here shortly. I just needed a couple of days to de-stress, decompress from the month. How'd they get it? Oh. It's 1 out of 100 chance for Jane to pull her shotgun out on you. I want to try to get her to pull out the gun. Just for the achievement. I think one of these days I'm gonna try to get back into making Roblox clothing. I used to make a couple back in the day, but I think you need premium to upload them now, don't you? I'll have to look into that later. I know I said I'd probably keep this open for about another hour, but I feel like an hour just like hanging around. Maybe? Oh, no. It's that guy. It's not that he's bad, it's just like we had a bad run with the swamp. Forgot to fill this up before I started planting. Oh well. This is a really fun, like, tower defense game. Because it's not your traditional lane style. This is very much just a defender. Not even a tower defender, just a defender game. Apparently, the creator of this makes YouTube shorts, so we'll have to go check them out later. But yeah, I think we'll be playing a lot of this game and the cul-de-sac during this week. Just to like make sure that folk, you know, that we have our like attention, but like, you know, we also have something going on in the background for everything. Alright, well, that sucked. Alright, so don't open with the rifle turret. Oh, God. That sucked. This might be the last that the crops will be able to get out before night falls. Let's make sure we have a full tank of water before morning. Alright, well, I didn't get that one far enough placed over, so. I really like the music on this game. This is like really nice. perfect. We're able to get everything. These turtles are gonna be difficult, especially since they're taking out one of my turrets. Yeah, we lose. That's fine. Kind of do want to go take a look at the RBX Twitch hub before we call it. So if you were able to complete all of the badges, you were able to get this Twitch crown. Super cool. Super neat. I believe you can still technically get it. Looks like some of the people have already been... Oh, my rank's gone down. That sucks. It looks like some people have already, like, the things have been shifting already. So. These, these are where you can get some of the drops. For watching Twitch, Roblox players. All sorts of fun stuff. It looks like there's gonna be some... Oh. There's a Twitch Karambit. Nice. What's that available? I know the knife was available. Karambit's new. Okay, so it's... Okay, so it's one of the newer drops. And then this is for collecting through the badges. You can get the glitch helmet. And this is if your team wins. I think it's those who are who actually are participating in the finals, though. So I'll be finding out later this week um, who's actually making it in. But yeah. All in um, all in all, this was a fun tournament. I enjoyed participating in it, you know. Sure, it sucked at times, but it was still a um, fun game. So, thank you guys for coming and joining us for today. This was, you know, the first of the week, so we'll see. We'll see how many people more actually come and hang out and chat. But I will see you guys tomorrow at 5 p.m. Central Time. I hope you all have a wonderful morning, evening, or afternoon, depending on what part of the world you're in. And we'll continue Tea Time with Luna later this week. Bye bye!